That was supposed to be my entry to the Digital Hustle Beat Nuts beat tape, and I missed the deadline. Beat was done way in advance. Just goes to show you, sometimes life gets in the way. Sometimes we let our job be more important than the things that we want to be important. Oh well, it's how life goes sometimes. But I'm here to want to talk about a couple things. First, I'm going to give a shout out to my man Randy Walker. He produced the track "Living" by Arrested Development. Go check that video out on YouTube. It's "Living" by Arrested Development, produced by my man Randy Walker. Push that video, y'all. Support it. That's my man. He used to be down my production team, the Rebel Group, back home in Baltimore. I love him like a brother. I mean, he's just, he got the biggest heart in the world. Matter of fact, he's the reason why I got my MV. So I actually got that MV from him. That used to be his. And in turn, he got the Native Instruments machine from me. So, and he's making banging beats with those joints. But then, also, it looks like my man Gabbo video is doing pretty decent, but we could do better. So all my people, everybody support me, please. The name of the video is None Illa by Gabbo. Just put in None Illa, N-U-N-I-L-L-A, and check that video out too. Check out my whole fam. Also my man Rome C. Anything from Rome C. These are all my Baltimore friends and affiliates, man, that I've been down with over the years, and I love them all. So support my hometown. All right, now I've been watching like some videos, and every so often I just chill and watch some movies, and I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. And watching Bruce Lee and a documentary of his stuff, and the man, he was very philosophical, and he's inspired me in so many ways, and a lot of different people in all walks of life, no matter what they doing, a lot of people just been inspired by Bruce Lee. But the thing that inspired me most is his passion and his philosophy and his approach towards martial arts. It's just amazing, right? So his approach was, well, let's talk about when he went to San Francisco. He was teaching martial arts there, and they didn't want him teaching it, and they told him, you can't teach this, we don't want you teaching the Westerners, and they challenged them, and told him if they win, he must stop teaching. If he win, he can continue teaching. And nonetheless, long story short, he fought the guy, he continued to train people. But he was a little disappointed because he said it took too long. Pretty much, he also got to a lot of debates with people who did classic forms and pure styles. And he just said he didn't want to be locked down on one style. He said a lot of this stuff was pointless, or not so pointless, but useless. So he said he would take what was useful and discard what was useless for him. Now, not saying that it was all pointless or useless for somebody else. He was just talking about, for him, and he's talking about what's most effective. And his approach and his philosophy towards martial arts was, whenever you're in combat, he said, it's to express yourself freely and be honest to who you really are. And so not verbatim, but that's pretty much what he's saying. He said, you doing this martial arts, you're in a combatant form, you're being truthfully honest to who you are, who you really are. It's to express one's true self. Deep. I'm like, how can I approach this whole philosophy, this whole approach to my beat making? And I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? That's what I do. And I'm gonna continue to do that. Express who I truly am. Through my music. And to me, I don't lock myself down to one way of making beats and one form or one way of doing it. I'm like Malcolm X when it comes to that, by any means necessary. I'll get tracks, I'll get beats, I'll get drum kits, I'll get samples, I'll get whatever I need. I'm gonna get it from wherever, pull my resources from wherever I need to pull it to make those beats. I know I got a lot of diehards out there that just, you only sample from vinyl, I only get it from, records, and that's fine. As you can see, I'm a vinyl lover too, and I get a lot of my stuff from records, but, a lot of times I use things a lot of different ways. So I just challenge everybody to just, don't just do it one way. Don't adapt to just one style. Broaden your horizons. There's a lot out there to create, and a lot of ways we can grow and expand. So, that being said, I was watching the video, and David Banner gave out a technique that he got from Dr. Dre, which I thought was awesome. Now, pretty much what that technique was, he said, what Dre would do is he said he would put on a record in one room, let it play. Then he would go way down to another room, and way out of that room. And then he'll sit down and he'll listen to what's played in the other room, and then he'll play to it. He'll play what he's hearing from the other room. It's called ghost production, or phantom production, so to speak. Because what he's saying is, as it travels through that house, through those walls, and through all those things it's got to go through, be it air, be it other noise, or be it where those frequencies, by the time he finished playing what he's hearing, when he goes back, it sounds nothing like what he thought he was listening to. So it sounds nothing like the original, because your ears are fooling you into hearing something different. And I never thought about that. And I thought of that. I never thought of it, but I've heard it simply because I'll throw some music on out here sometimes and just let it crank out. And while I'm getting ready to do something, and I'll go in there and I'll start taking a shower while the music is jamming. And while I'm in the shower, it sounds different. And I'm like, what is the song? I'm like, wow, what's that? And I'm rushing out to hear what it is. I'm like, oh, it's that. It sounds different. Great technique. I will definitely be using that. But people, let's not adapt to one style. Let's just do some things, a creative way. I had a production team back home in Baltimore called the Rebel Group. We did some things. I'm not going to name drop, say who we did stuff for. Check the name, you'll see. Also, like I said, and a bunch of producers that was on my team went on to do some good things. Like Randy Walker, producer for Arrested Development, got a great relationship with Search. Also, my man Brandon Ruff working with Nokio or Drew Hill, and my man Ambush. He produced the album with Rome C called Street Scholar, and he's played some bass for Floetry. And I'm just proud of all the things that my fellow producers back home have went on to do. And then of course you got my man. He wasn't with my production team, but he's like a brother to me. My man Millimeter, who does all the production for my man Gabbo. Also, I contributed a couple tracks to Gabbo as well. But nonetheless, I still got my production team. It's not 10 strong like it was back home. But I really had to take a little while to come out and reflect, because the music business sometimes, and when you're pushing, it gets crazy. Things happen, relationships get broken, people feel certain ways, and groups that you thought would stay together break up. All that stuff, it's like this music thing can put a lot on you. And having that production team, it put a big strain on me and my brother, and trying to be a producer and trying to get my producers out there, and trying to get our production out there, trying to get placements. It's a rough business. And coming out here was one of the best things, because it allowed me to want to get back into my music, reflect, and not worry about all the bullshit, But I mean, I like to do music, and that, who doesn't want to hear that stuff, played on the radio? Who doesn't want to have a decent placement? Some people don't. Some people do it for fun. Some people want to take it to that next level, And I constantly get told all the time, man, your stuff should be this, your stuff be there. I'm humble. I don't know. I do know that when I did, go for some placements and some of the stuff. One of the things that kind of put some of our stuff back was the fact that some of our production had samples in it. And with a lot of up and coming artists that's trying to make a stamp or a name for themselves, 9 times they want to stay away from sampled content simply because, and I can understand, because of the politics involved. But we still want to have sample like music. So that's why me and my cousin creating a vinyl project. So that just gives you an alternative, a way to have a vinyl sound but still get it in. And when somebody say, look, well, what's the sample? You can proudly say it's not a sample. So that's the whole purpose. I just want to contribute back, to those who trying to get it in, because I know as a producer and having a production team trying to get some stuff out there and do a little things, here and there. Even my cousin, we've done some things, and sometimes you get close to that spot and you think you're gonna hit and you think it's about to break and it doesn't. So a lot of times it ain't. Sometimes it's just the music itself, and sometimes it's something simple as sample clearance. So I say like this: if you're a dope producer, you make a thing, and you like to sample, by all means do it, but use it as an inspiration. David Banner also said when he went and did some digging and he learned from Dre that sometimes listen, Dre said I'll dig, I'll get records, and I'll listen to them for inspiration, to get ideas for bass lines and get ideas for this, that, the other. And sometimes it inspires me to create. So sometimes you should dig just for that, not just to chop up, find something to chop up, but sometimes something to listen to that inspires you. I also told my cousin, in doing this music thing, you should always invest in your career. Always invest in what you're doing. I had a lot of people opinion about equipment and, oh, you don't need this. Why you got so many drum machines? By any means necessary. I put it like this. I told my cousin this. This is some advice I gave him. I said, you know what, man? If you saw this keyboard and really, and the keyboard was like $5,000, and you already got 6 keyboards, but this keyboard inspires you. It makes you feel good, and you think, and you're like, you know what? That got this, that got that, and I could do this. Just that excitement alone, I would buy it off that excitement alone, because what it does is bringing out a willingness, a feeling of wanting to create. It inspires the creative juices, and that alone could cause you to make a masterpiece or make that a hit or make good music. I ain't saying break the bank. I ain't saying spend money you don't have. I'm just saying, give back to what it is. If it's that feeling, because that's what music is. It's a feeling. Good music. You know where you was when you heard it, and if something inspires you to be great, or if something inspires you to do something, by all means, do what it is. That's why I got these things. They inspire me. So, I love the fact of having hardware. I love to collect hardware, but not only that, it inspires me. So if it inspires me to make something dope, I don't regret getting a piece of gear. I have not 1 ounce of buyer's remorse for any piece I've gotten, because it all has created something and caused me to make some creative music out of it. The saying goes, if you get a book, like say you're a salesperson or whatever it is, no matter what your profession is, if you get a book, you may know it very well, and you may only get 2 things out that book. But if those 2 things help you make money, the book, whatever the price of that book, was well worth it. And that's the same thing with getting this stuff. If you learn a technique, or this machine does something that inspires you or sparks a certain level of creativity, make you do music differently, by all means. Think about it. Think about it. A lot of the greats have a lot of equipment. It's just, it is what it is. Shout out KK on the beats. Look at her. She's developed